Here's something your real estate school didn't teach you, and your broker probably hasn't told you either. The first 30 days in real estate are the most important days of your entire career. Not because of what you learn, because of what you do. See, most agents spend those 30 days doing the wrong things. They're setting up systems, they're learning the MLS, they're getting their business cards printed, building their social media presence. And I'm not saying those things are not important and that you shouldn't do them, but it is the thing that will hold you back if you're not careful. Because see, most agents are then wondering why they don't have any clients yet. Meanwhile, the clock's ticking and the habits that are going to define your entire career are being formed during that first 30 days. See, whether you realize it or not, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to do instead. And if you follow this plan, you're going to be further ahead at 30 days than most agents are after 6 months in the business. Here's what I also want to address before we're done. Because most new agents who hear what I'm about to tell them have the exact same reaction. They think, well, that sounds too simple. Maybe it is too simple. Then they go and do the complicated thing anyway because complicated tends to feel more like work. See, a lot of times we feel like I gotta get ready to be ready so that when I'm ready, I'll actually be ready. But isn't going to get you where you need to be. So I'm gonna show you why simple is exactly right and why the agents who figure that out in month 1 actually build careers that look completely different than the ones who figure it out in year 3. So stick with me. Let me start by describing something that I want you to recognize, and if you recognize it, I want you to feel the urgency of what I'm about to say. There's a phase that almost every new agent goes through at the beginning of their career. I call it the activities phase, and it's the most dangerous phase in all of real estate. Not because anything bad actually happens in it, but it's because nothing actually happens during that activities phase. And nothing feeling like something is the most dangerous place you can be in this business. Here's what the activities phase looks like. You get your license, you're excited, you show up to the office, not actually a lot to do. In fact, I like to joke and say that most managers will say, here's your desk, here's your phone, good luck, you're on your own. See, that's not what you want to be doing, is getting your email signature set up, getting business cards ordered, learning how to navigate the MLS, figuring out how to run a CMA, set up your social media profiles, attend the office training that they do on contracts, go to a lunch with a lender and learn, get your headshot taken. All of these things feel productive. And again, I do want to emphasize they are things that probably need to get done. But all of it feels like you're building something, like you're getting ready to get ready so that when you're ready, you're ready. But here's the honest truth about everything that I've just described. None of it is going to generate income. None of it sets an appointment for you. None of it moves you one step closer to your first closed transaction. It's all preparation. And preparation is necessary, but only up to a certain point. See, after that point, preparation becomes procrastination. And most new agents never notice when they cross that line. Here's the rule that I give to every new agent that I work with. You have 3 weeks. 3 weeks to get through the activities phase. Learn what you need to learn, set up what you need to set up, get your bearings, and then you're done. After 3 weeks, the activities phase is over and you have to get started on your prospecting every single day. Because here's what I've watched happen to hundreds of agents coming into this business. The ones who get transactions fast are almost never the ones who knew the most at 30 days. They're the ones who started doing the most at 30 days. They got uncomfortable faster. They picked up the phone sooner. And the momentum they built in those first weeks compounded in a way that changed the trajectory of their entire career. See, the agents who spend 60 or 90 days in the activities phase, setting up systems, perfecting their presentation binder, waiting until they felt ready, almost always struggled to get any traction. Now, this wasn't because you're not capable. And it's not because they weren't smarter or harder working, because the habits they formed in those first weeks were preparation habits, not production habits. And preparation habits are very hard to break once they're set. Now, the good news is you can, and the fact that you're watching this video tells me you want to. So the first thing to understand about where you're at right now, if you're in your first 30 days, or maybe you've had your license for a little while, but you're like not getting the results you want, the goal is to get out of that activities phase as fast as possible and start doing the work that actually produces results. So the question is, what is that work? Here are the 3 things that actually matter. The first thing is you need to build your sphere of influence. And my recommendation is to get 200 people. The very first thing you should do when you decide you're done with the activities phase, and again, if you're watching this video, I assume you're ready to move out of that phase. And I mean, this is the very first thing. Before you knock on a single door or make a single cold call, is sit down and build your initial list. Now, don't get caught doing that for too long, because that creates the problem we've been talking about in the activities phase. But this list has got to be people that are not strangers. It's not a list of for sale by owners or expired listings. It's a list of people who already know you. So pick up your phone and go through it right now. Go through any contacts that you have saved in your email or your phone, and even go through your social media contacts, because those are people who you are connected with. Think about some old coworkers, your family, friends, people from your church or your gym or your neighborhood, your kids' teachers, your doctor, your accountant, the people you went to school with, the people you've done business with over the years, anybody you've worked with. Write down every single one who would recognize your name if you called them up today. Your goal is to get to 200, not 2,000. Not everyone you've ever crossed paths with in your entire life. Just 200 specific people who know you well enough that a call from you isn't a cold call. It's a familiar voice, or at least minimum a familiar name. Now, here's what I want you to do once you have your list. You're gonna call every single person on it. Not to ask for business, not to say, hey, I'm here in real estate now, can you help me, please send me some clients. That's not the call. The call is going to be a real conversation with a real person about their life, and somewhere in that conversation, naturally, when the moment's right, you're going to say something like this. Hey, I wanted to mention that I made a decision about how I want to build my real estate business. I want to build it around people who already know me, around referrals and relationships rather than chasing strangers. And I'm putting together a select group of people who I'm going to stay in touch with about what's going on in the real estate market. Just keeping them in the loop, answering questions, that kind of thing. Would it be okay if I added you to that group? And then when they say yes, which most of them will, by the way, you're going to ask 2 things. Number 1, what email should I send that information to? And number 2 is, what's the best phone number to call you periodically, just to check in and see if you have any questions or anything that I can help you with when it comes to real estate. That's the permission conversation. It's not complicated, it's not salesy, it's actually genuine, and it is the foundation of everything that is going to come after it in your career. I know what some of you are thinking. I don't want to bother the people I know. I don't want to seem like I'm using my relationship with them for business. I want to build a real estate business with real clients, not just trade on my personal connections. Here's what I want you to understand about that thinking. The people who know you are your real clients. They are the most likely people in your entire world to work with you and refer you. See, the National Association of Realtors tracks this every single year, and 66% of the sellers chose the agent that they were going to work with through a referral, or because they had used the agent previously, or they were friends or family. 66%. So more than half of all the listing business happening in your market right now went to an agent through a relationship. You already have relationships. You just haven't told those people you're in real estate yet. That's all this call is. Telling the people you know that you're in the business and that you would love to be their resource when it comes to real estate. See, most people have somebody they go to when they need their haircut. They go to a specific person when they want their taxes done. They go to a specific doctor or dentist. You just want to become that person for them when it comes to real estate. That's where your business starts. Not with a website, not with some Facebook ad, not with a farming campaign. With 200 people who already know your name and are willing to be in your select group of people. The second thing is you need to start prospecting. Once you have your list and you've started making your permission calls, you're prospecting. That is prospecting, by the way. Reaching out to people, having real conversations, building relationships that lead to appointments. And here's the mindset shift that I think is the most important thing I can share with a new agent or an agent who is struggling in the business. You're not in real estate to learn real estate. You're in real estate to sell real estate. And selling real estate requires talking to people every single day. Not when you feel ready, not after you learned one more contract clause, not after you've attended one more training session. And believe me, I get it. I remember being there. I remember feeling like I can't do this until I actually know what I'm doing. But you have to get started because I'm 30 years into this and I will tell you, I still don't know everything. So you've got to get started now, today, with whatever you know right now, because you do know enough right now to have a conversation. And believe it or not, you know more about real estate than the people you're calling. And a conversation is all prospecting is. Here's something I want you to understand about the discomfort you're probably feeling about making these calls. Because again, I get it. I remember being there. But I promise you, the discomfort is real and it's not a sign that something is wrong, okay? You grew up your entire life being told, don't talk to strangers, stranger danger. From the time you were old enough to walk out the front door, you have been conditioned to avoid exactly what real estate requires. So of course it feels uncomfortable. Of course your brain finds every reason possible to check your email or organize your desk instead of picking up the phone. That's not a character flaw. That's years of conditioning. And now that you understand where it comes from, you can actually push through it. Because here's the truth about confidence in real estate that nobody tells new agents. Confidence doesn't come before the calls. It comes from the calls. I'm going to say that again. Confidence doesn't come before the calls. It comes from the calls. You don't get confident and then start prospecting. You start prospecting and then you get confident. The only path through the discomfort is through the discomfort. And I hate to be the one to tell you that, but it is the truth. And the agents who figure that out in month one, who push through it early, so even if you're past month one, the faster you push through it, you're gonna be one of those agents that builds something the ones who wait never quite catch up to. Okay, the third thing I wanna share with you is 1 appointment a day. Here's the metric that matters more than any other metric in your first 30 days, more than the contacts made, more than calls completed, more than the number of doors that you knock on, more than the social media posts that you publish. Set 1 new appointment every day. And ideally, do it before noon. That's the goal. Every single day, 1 new appointment, not a contact, not just a conversation, an appointment. A scheduled time when you're gonna sit down with a real person and have a real conversation about their real estate needs. Now, as you're calling through the 200 people, ask to set an appointment to sit down with them to talk about what is going on with them and real estate. Even if they say they have no plans of selling real estate or buying real estate as a buyer or a seller, you just wanna sit down with them. And if you're new, and you know the person, you can even tell them, I just want to practice. I want to come out and practice talking to people about real estate. Could I come and meet with you? That's it. A listing appointment or a buyer consultation, a let's meet for coffee somewhere with someone who mentioned they were thinking about selling real estate next year. Just any type of an appointment with anybody that you can talk about real estate. Again, even if they're not planning on buying or selling, just let me come out and sit down and talk to you and run you through what I do with a seller. And then you get a practice. That's the best thing you can do because believe it or not, some of the people that you go practice on are all of a sudden going to be like, we've actually been thinking about it. Or they're going to say, I do have a friend that you should talk to. So here's the commitment that goes with it. You don't go home until you've set one appointment. You don't move on to email. You don't start doing admin work. You don't call it a day and tell yourself you'll try again tomorrow. Just set one new appointment. And again, if you're calling through your list of people and just asking them, can I come spend 15 minutes with you just to sit down and just show you what I'm doing? Let me show you what's going on in the market. Let me do a practice listing presentation. You can say any of those things. Just call and ask them if you could sit down for 15, 20 minutes. That's it. Just a short appointment. And then, and only then, once you've set an appointment, are you done with your prospecting block for the day. Now, I know that sounds easier than it probably feels like it's going to be, but I promise you, if you commit to, I got to get an appointment and I'm going to call people and just ask them if I can sit down and talk with them. Again, even if it's your mom to begin with, or your brother, your sister, your best friend, I don't care. Call and get those people to begin with, because the more you do it, the more of the habit you get into. And again, you're going to find people who will refer people to you. Now, I know what some of you are thinking is, that sounds like a lot of work and I'm brand new. I don't even know enough yet. Remember, that is your reptilian brain jumping in, trying to protect you from stranger danger or getting into the uncomfortable position. Or you're thinking, well, what if they ask me something and I don't know the answer? Here's what I want you to hear. You know enough right now to set an appointment. You don't need to know everything about real estate to set an appointment. I already mentioned, I still don't, after 30 years, know everything there is to know about real estate. You need to know how to have a genuine conversation with a human being about what they're trying to accomplish. And again, it might be they're not trying to accomplish anything, but you might also talk to them about considering owning a investment property. Like, think about it. I bet you every person, if you asked them 10 years ago if you could go buy property again, would you do it knowing what you know now? And they're gonna say, absolutely, I wish I would have bought a ton of property. I wish I would have bought more property. It is just something they're going to regret. Like, I'll give you a quick example. I helped my mom move into a retirement community. We sold her place. And for the last 10 years, I've been kicking myself, why did we not keep that as a rental? See, everybody out there probably would love to own an investment property. You just got to go talk to them about it. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind. You have been talking to people your entire life. That's not a skill you need to learn. It's a skill you already have. The knowledge comes with the appointments. See, you want to get the knowledge, it comes by having the appointments. You're going to go on an appointment with somebody you know, and they're going to ask you a question, and you're going to go, I don't know. I better go find that out. And then you'll go back to your office and you'll ask somebody, or you'll contact me and ask me. Every appointment you go on teaches you something that you couldn't have learned in a training room. Every question you get asked that you don't know the answer to tells you exactly what to go learn next. The best real estate education available to any new agent is not in a classroom or in a certification. It's an appointment. One appointment per day, 5 days a week, 20 in your first month. If they even a fraction of those turned into a real client, you are already ahead of where most agents are after 6 months. Now, I want to come back to what I said at the very beginning. I said most new agents hear what I just described and think, well, that sounds too simple. And then they go do the complicated thing. See, real estate doesn't have to be complicated. So let me tell you what complicated thing really looks like, because I've watched it happen enough times to know exactly how it goes. The new agent decides that they need a website. So they spend 2 weeks building a website. Then they decide they need to be on social media. So they spend another week setting up their profiles, planning out content. Then they hear about a farming program, sending a postcard to a neighborhood every month. So they go spend money they haven't made yet on mailing campaigns to strangers who have never heard of them before. And then 6 months later, they're frustrated and they're broke because they've spent all their money, and they're wondering why real estate is so hard. Not because they weren't trying, because again, I have been there and I felt like I was working hard, but because you build an infrastructure for a business that didn't exist yet. They spend their time and money on things that produce results eventually. Maybe. For agents who already have a foundation and they skipped the part where you build the foundation. See, I think that's the biggest struggle in real estate is new agents come in and try to run their business the way an experienced agent is running their business versus the new agent who did the simple thing, who sat down in week 1 and built a list of 200 people, who made their calls to get permission from those 200 people, who then set an appointment with some of those people, as many as you can, starting on week 2, and then they didn't stop. The agent at 30 days has 30 appointments, said that wrong. The agent who does that at 30 days has 20 appointments on the books who are already completed. They have a sphere of influence of 200 people who know they're in real estate and have given permission to stay in touch with. They have a prospecting habit that's already becoming second nature because they've been doing it every single day. And they have the beginning of a pipeline that's going to produce transactions in the next 30 to 60 days. That's not complicated, but it is exactly right. Because here's the truth about what a real estate business actually is at its core. It's relationships. That's it. Find people who want to buy or sell, build enough trust that they choose you, then help them do it well, and then you find more people. And more than likely, they're going to refer you people. That's the whole business. Everything else, the website, the CRM, the social media, the farming program, all of its infrastructure in support of that simple cycle. And the new agents who understand that in month 1, or at least quickly, who don't let the infrastructure become the job, those are the agents who build real estate careers. Not because they're more talented, not because they worked harder, because they put the first thing first and let it become the second thing. See, here's what I've watched happen when agents start this way. Within their first 90 days, they usually have their first transaction. Sometimes their first 2 or even 3 transactions. And here's what that does that no training or certification ever could. It builds confidence, the kind that only comes from doing the thing, from having the conversations, from sitting across from a real seller and walking them through a real appointment and having them say yes. But guess what? Even if they say no, that was a good practice, you don't know that you have created confidence in them that you know what you're doing now. And that confidence feeds the next appointment and then the next one, and the whole thing starts to compound month after month, year after year, into a business that gets easier over time instead of harder. See, the one thing about this business is if it's not getting easier and your price range going up over time, you're doing it wrong. See, it should be simple. It's always been the simple thing. The agents who figure out that first are the ones who build something worth having. So now, if you're sitting there thinking, okay, I have the plan, I know what I need to do my first 30 days. It might not have been what you wanted to hear, but it is what you need to do your first 30 days. But if you're thinking, I want to make sure I'm building the right system from the start so that what I build in month 1 actually compounds into something real in 6 months and month 12 and year 3, I have put together a video that walks through a program called 30 Deals in Your Phone. It is the system that makes the simple things sustainable. The closed referral system built around people who already know you with the specific protocols for how to work with those 200 people, how to stay in touch in a way that feels genuine and not salesy, and how to turn those initial relationships into a business that keeps producing for you year after year. We go through your actual contacts, and I will help you map out where your next 10 to 30 deals are sitting right now. See, we build a system around those relationships, and we do it in a way that fits right into the schedule and the habits you're building during your first 30 days. So the foundation you're laying right now becomes the business you're proud of in 3 years from now. So click on the link in the description below, and it'll take you to a video where I walk you through the 30 deals in your phone. And then if you're interested, you can click on another link that will take you to my calendar and schedule a time to talk with me. Not somebody who works for me. You're going to talk with me, And we're gonna map out a strategy for you to get your business up and running so that you don't end up being one of the casualties who never figured it out and had to go get a new different job. Go make somebody glad they met you today, and I'll see you in the next video.